Welcome to the Deep Dive, the only show that takes a huge, complex stack of source material and synthesizes it into the sharpest, most fascinating insights you need to know.
Today, we are strapping in for an intense, and I mean highly volatile ride into the world of dark romance and some very deep-seated familial trauma.
We really are. We're undertaking a comprehensive deep dive into Penelope Douglas's Corrupt, which is the first book in the Devil's Night series.
And the sources you've shared with us, they just lay bare this incredibly complex psychological conflict. It's all rooted in generational power struggles, revenge, and then, ultimately self-liberation.
Exactly. This isn't just going to be a summary of a love story. I
Yeah.
mean, not at all. It's more of an investigation into why a person would actively seek out their own destruction and who really benefits from all that chaos.
Right.
Our mission today is to unpack the emotional debt, the real.
We really need to figure out what was at stake for them. I mean, what was really at stake when they stepped into this unbelievably dangerous game?
And we don't have to look very far for the thematic key, do we?
No, not at all. The entire source material is framed by this incredibly powerful epigraph from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
It's so good.
It is. It reads, "You are my creator, but I am your master."
Yeah.
And that line is absolutely crucial. I mean, it captures the central struggle for both Rika and Michael.
How so?
Well, it speaks to Michael rejecting his creator, who is his controlling father, and at the same time, it's about Rika trying to escape the life that was created for her. And in doing so, she inadvertently sets herself up to master the very man who first tried to control her.
That quote, especially in this genre, it just immediately raises the stakes beyond a simple romance. It's about subjugation, isn't it? And then eventual domination.
And not just physical, it's emotional and psychological.
Totally. And if the text itself doesn't set the tone perfectly, the extensive, 21-song playlist that's provided with the source material certainly does.
Absolutely. That music acts as just a visceral soundtrack to the chaos.
Yeah.
When you actually look through the titles, you see this really clear preference for heavy, aggressive, almost hostile tracks.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about Bodies by Drowning Pool, which, when you think about the violence that follows, it signals a physical, almost primal conflict.
And we've also got The Devil and I by Slipknot and The Vengeful One by Disturbed. It's not subtle stuff.
No. And what's fascinating here is that the prevalence of this specific brand of metal and aggressive rock, which is
Yeah.
often associated with rage and breaking norms, it doesn't just underscore what the Horsemen are doing.
Right.
It actually mirrors Rika's internal state. She's not like listening to soft music while she's planning her great escape. She is internally resonating with the destruction that's implied by tracks like Getting Away with Murder by Papa Roach.
It connects directly to that core theme of catharsis through destruction. I mean, the playlist isn't just background noise. It is a map of their emotional landscape.
A map, that's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah, and the songs. You also have tracks like Goodbye Agony and Deathbeds. They suggest a necessary emotional demolition. Both Rika and Michael are carrying so much pain, so many false expectations, that they have to undergo this, total breakdown.
Before they can find any kind of genuine personal resurrection or release.
Exactly. So this deep dive is really about analyzing that whole demolition process, piece by piece.
Okay, let's unpack this intense dynamic. I think we should start by grounding ourselves in Rika's mindset right before everything kicks off, specifically her really desperate quest for freedom.
Yeah.
We see her trying to shed this golden cage of her privileged life in Thunder Bay.
And, Rika's escape, it wasn't some sudden, impulsive move. It was a deeply considered strategy for self-definition. She felt utterly suffocated.
But not by hardship, which is the interesting part.
No, not at all. It was by the relentless weight of comfort and expectation. She was constantly under the umbrella of her family name, the Fanes, and the just pervasive presence of the Christ family, who were all intertwined with her own.
Which meant she never really faced a real challenge, did she? Or an authentic threat that she couldn't just buy or influence her way out of.
Precisely. And she explicitly stated that she needed to know what I was made of. That's a really powerful internal motivation if you think about it.
It is. It implies that if her life was too easy, then she felt, fundamentally untested? Incomplete, maybe?
I think so. So moving to Meridian City, that wasn't just about getting distance. It was a calculated risk. She sought out, and this is a direct quote, a little trouble.
That's a line that should make any listener just sit up straight. Because she wasn't hoping for trouble, she was actively searching for crucible.
A crucible, yes. And what's crucial here is that this move was also a direct rejection of the man who represented all the safety she was fleeing from, Trevor Christ.
Her childhood friend.
Exactly. Rika and Trevor were practically raised to believe they were a unit, destined to merge the Fane and Christ empires. It was all laid out for them.
But the relationship, it was defined by possession, not passion. Trevor clearly saw Rika as, like, property that belonged to him and to the family structure.
Yeah, and we see his possessiveness just bubble to the surface when he tries to talk her out of the move. He tells her, "We belong together, Rika. It's always been us."
And his reaction to her wanting independence, it isn't concern, it's anger. You can see it in how his eyes narrow, his immediate attempts to just control her decision.
And this possessive attitude is precisely what Rika needed to escape. But what's really insightful about her choice of destination, Meridian City, is that it's tethered to the one person Trevor hates and fears the most.
His older brother, Michael.
Michael. The sources make it really clear that Trevor is intensely jealous of him, describing Michael as a lot more intimidating.
So Rika basically used the intense, long-standing rivalry between the brothers as her shield.
She did. She knew Trevor would never follow her to Meridian City because of his loathing for Michael. So she effectively turns Michael into her unexpected protector. And, well, later, her tormentor.
That just immediately complicates the whole narrative, doesn't it? She's not moving toward freedom in a straight line. She is moving toward the ultimate source of danger and chaos.
Because she perceives it as her only path away from the stifling control of Trevor and her family.
And that source of danger, of course, is Michael Crist and the Horsemen.
Let's talk about the Horsemen, because they are so much more than just a clique. They are a legend in Thunder Bay. The group Damon Torrance, Kai Mori, Will Grayson III, and Michael Crist, they ruled their high school years prior.
And not just through social status, it was through palpable intimidation.
Palpable is the right word.
The imagery used to describe them is so specific. It's designed to invoke fear and this sense of duality. Michael, in particular, he adopts this whole persona of destruction.
With the mask.
Right, the mask. It isn't just a simple disguise. It's a blood-red replica of the scarred Army of Two mask from that video game series. I just want to spend a moment on the implications of that choice.
See.
I mean, the Army of Two concept is inherently about partnership and duality, right? Two people working together toward a common goal, which often involves extreme violence.
And by choosing a scarred blood-red replica, Michael is symbolizing his own internal damage and the duality of his existence. He's outwardly strong, aggressive, a leader. But that mask suggests he needs this persona to hide a really profound injury.
So it reinforces that whole Frankenstein theme we talked about.
Exactly. Michael is trying to create a terrifying master, the horseman out of the damaged, obedient creature his father created, which is the dutiful son.
And Rika's reaction to this masked figure is where the psychological conflict just gets so much deeper. It's not standard teenage lust, not at all.
No. She feels a constant, unavoidable pull toward him. She experiences, and I'm quoting here, elation and agony whenever he is near.
So why both? Why the simultaneous elation and agony? It's such a powerful, confusing duality of feeling.
I think it's because Michael represents the genuine intensity that she craves. The elation is the feeling of being seen and challenged by a force that truly commands her attention. A force that's capable of breaking the rules that have always confined her.
And the agony.
The agony stems from the way he treats her dismissively. No better than if he were speaking to a dog. She is drawn to his power, but she's deeply hurt by his cruelty.
So this dynamic is the first clue that Rika's pursuit of self-discovery actually requires an element of psychological pain, a necessary destruction of her former self.
Yeah, she finds the intensity in Michael's dismissiveness that she could never ever find in Trevor's suffocating affection.
So her pursuit of Michael isn't romantic, not in the traditional sense. It's a form of, radical self-therapy through exposure to a controlled, dangerous environment.
I think that's a great way to put it. She is deliberately provoking the most intimidating presence she knows to force a change in herself.
To truly understand the nature of Rika and Michael's relationship, this debt he believes she owes, and the paradoxical protection he provided, we have to revisit the Horsemen's history.
We have to. Specifically, the incident that bound them all together 3 years ago.
Let's just establish their baseline power first. The Horsemen were the axis around which Thunder Bay revolved. They commanded respect and fear, especially through their dominance on the high school basketball court.
Oh, absolutely. The sources say that when they left, the team suffered a humiliating disaster, which just emphasizes that their influence wasn't just social, it was systemic. They were the engine of their community's pride.
And their sudden absence created this massive vacuum.
And that vacuum of power is what sets the stage for the central trauma. 3 years prior, Rika was assaulted. She was roofied by Miles and Astrid Colby at a party, and Miles sexually assaulted her in the bathroom.
This is the catalyst for everything that follows. Everything.
And the sources make it painfully clear that Rika tried to find legitimate recourse first. She tried to tell her mother, the Christs, the school administrators, but every single door was slammed shut in her face.
Why? Because the legitimate system failed her. It was all about external influence. Michael's father had crucial business partnerships with Miles's family.
So the need to maintain financial stability and status, that trumped justice for Rika.
This systemic failure is the key moment that justifies the horseman's later actions, at least, within the universe of the story.
Right. The system proved it was corrupt. It shielded the wealthy and the influential abusers. So when the horsemen stepped in, they were delivering a kind of justice that Rika was denied.
It was brutal. It was illegal.
But it was effective.
Talk us through the nature of that retaliatory justice. It wasn't just a simple beatdown, was it?
No, it was calculated to be terrifying and permanent. They physically punished Miles and Astrid, and their vengeance was solidified when they presented Rika with souvenirs.
These weren't subtle tokens.
Far from it. They were a bloodied tooth, which we assume was Miles's, and a thick rope of long red hair, presumably Astrid's. These artifacts were given to her with a promise. They won't ever touch you again.
And that act created this intense, really twisted sense of protection for Rika. It forged an unbreakable, if painful, obligation between her and Michael's friends.
It did. Which is why Michael's reaction to Rika 3 years later is so fascinating. You can see how this incident just fractured his own sense of control.
He develops that core rule for himself, a self-imposed boundary.
Don't be alone with her. That rule implies this profound recognition of his own danger, or maybe his inability to trust himself around her.
It's a classic manifestation of internal conflict, isn't it?
Absolutely. He knows deep down that she is the one person who can truly destabilize him, and yet he breaks that rule almost immediately. He's driven by this instinct to make sure she's safe, even showing up in her new apartment building late at night.
So his desire to protect her clashes violently with his need to punish her for the betrayal that he thinks happened.
Yes, the perceived betrayal that put him and his friends in prison.
And his stated objective for their intimacy is just chillingly manipulative. He wants her to wish you hated me before they become intimate.
Yeah.
Why, psychologically, is hate a prerequisite for Michael? Why not just indifference or even desire?
Michael operates under the assumption that he is fundamentally corrosive. It's a belief that's been reinforced by his controlling father for years. So if Rika hates him, any intimacy they share can be rationalized as pure destruction, which fits the violent narrative he's built around himself.
So it's a defense mechanism.
It's a mechanism to protect his extreme vulnerability, 100%. He needs her emotional distance to justify his own cruelty. If she loved him, the intimacy would require him to expose his true damaged self, which he's terrified of doing.
He's aiming for total emotional mastery over her to mask his lack of mastery over his own life.
Exactly. But this is where it gets really interesting, because the source material gives us this rare, fragile moment of vulnerability from Michael, and it completely reframes his aggression toward her.
You're talking about the catacombs.
I am. He takes her to the catacombs of the old church, a place symbolizing hidden secrets, dark rites, and he tells her that she is like him.
This is the critical turning point in understanding his motivation, isn't it?
It is. He sees Rika not as a victim, but as a fellow prisoner. He tells her they are both constantly being dictated to, constantly being told what to do, and that they both desperately need to break out of the box that society and their families have put them in.
And he confesses his own deep-seated trauma, which is linked to his father.
He does. He says, I'm always afraid. I do what he tells me to do. I never stand up for myself.
That one confession means that his actions aren't purely about punishing Rika. They are a projection of his own helplessness and his own rage.
Yes. He sees her as the one person brave enough, or maybe foolish enough, to join him in tearing down the expectations that confine them both. He wants her to embrace the chaos he feels inside, because he sees in her the same potential for self-destruction and ultimate rebellion.
So he's not just seeking vengeance.
No. He's seeking an accomplice in a mutual escape.
Rika thought moving to Meridian City was her radical move toward independence. But the second she arrives, she realizes she's walked straight into a meticulously prepared trap.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. She moves into this huge, expensive, furnished apartment on the 21st floor of the Delcor building. A symbol of her continued privilege, really.
And the architecture of the building immediately reinforces the power imbalance, doesn't it?
Oh, totally. She quickly discovers Michael lives on the 22nd floor, occupying the single penthouse residence, complete with a private elevator. This is no coincidence. It's a literal representation of their dynamic.
She is placed one level below Michael, constantly under his purview.
And that single-floor separation, it just reinforces his isolation and his superior surveillance capability. It perfectly captures her status as a sitting duck.
And this wasn't an impulsive thing. The sources confirm this was the Horseman's long-term patient strategy, which is brilliantly signaled by that note Rika finds.
Beware the fury of a patient man.
And she correctly identifies it as a John Dryden quote, confirming that patient people plan.
They wanted her exactly where she was. In Meridian City, in that specific building, and critically isolated with no friends. For 3 years, they nursed this resentment and planned her initiation.
And the physical evidence of their surveillance, that candle burning in her window that she didn't light, it signals constant observation. It's so unnerving.
It is. And the slender box containing the dagger and the note, that's not just a warning. It's a ceremonial initiation into their twisted game. It's suggesting that she now has to be prepared for battle.
The whole environment is already saturated with the darkness she was looking for. And in the lobby, Rika encounters Alex, the beautiful brunette escort, dressed in that tight navy blue cocktail dress.
Who lives on the 16th floor. And Alex is very open about it. She admits to being paid to know lots of men, including Michael.
What's her function in the story, do you think?
I think Alex serves as a mirror for Rika. Initially, Rika reacts with judgment, right? She sees Alex as part of the moral rot of the city, something she's superior to.
But that changes.
Drastically. As the story progresses, Rika has this moment of profound realization. She recognizes that there is barely any separation between who we are and who they are. Both women are living under the control of powerful men, defined and often exploited by their societal roles.
So Rika might have more money, but she has the same lack of genuine agency as Alex. She's trapped in a box of familial and financial expectation.
Precisely. And the initiation culminates in the escalating chaos of Devil's Night on October 30th. This is where Rika actively steps across that moral line.
It starts with the burning of a drug house.
And even that event is specifically tied to her past. Rika uses the matchbox she inherited from her deceased father to light the fire. This isn't just random arson.
No, it's Rika leveraging her family legacy, her history, her status, to commit a deeply destructive, illegal act. By using her father's matchbox, the destruction becomes personal, ancestral, self-defining.
She is symbolically burning down her own polite, privileged past.
But the true psychological climax of this section happens in the town square. We'll firebombs a gazebo with a Molotov cocktail and act her with a sec. Rika rightly sees as excessive, a dick move.
Right. She's still tethered to her old morality at this point. She instinctively reacts by dialing 911. She hasn't fully embraced the chaos yet.
But then comes the moment of true corruption. As Officer Baker approaches the group, Rika makes a decision that permanently seals her fate and her allegiance.
She sees that Michael is on the verge of having his entire NBA future destroyed by a criminal record.
And to distract the cop and save his future, she takes a crowbar, walks straight up to her own family's FAE jewelry store, smashes the window, and steals $250,000 worth of jewelry.
This action needs extensive analysis. I mean, she commits grand larceny, a massive, life-altering felony for the man he believes has been stalking and terrorizing her.
Why does she do it? Why switch from calling the police to becoming the primary lawbreaker?
It's the ultimate sacrificial act of self-corruption, and it's driven by emotional investment. Her internal realization is the critical piece of data here. She recognizes that she fucking cared about Michael's career more than she cared about her own moral standing or her family's legacy.
By smashing that window, she irrevocably burns the bridge back to her old life.
She moved to Meridian City seeking trouble, and by committing a major felony to protect Michael, she actively engineered her own destruction and cemented her commitment to his chaotic world. The Horsemen wanted a sitting duck. They got a revolutionary.
And this action elevates her from being a victim or a target to being an active participant in the Horseman's dark game. She's now placed Michael's future above her own financial and legal stability.
Which makes the Horseman's later vengeance, which is based on a total misunderstanding, even more tragic.
Right. So we now arrive at the core misunderstanding that fueled 3 years of resentment and the systematic destruction of Rika's life.
The Horsemen believed Rika was the one who betrayed them.
They spent 3 years in prison. a defining, scarring period for all of them, because they were convinced that she leaked the incriminating videos.
Yeah, the footage of them beating a cop and the video of Damon's assault. They thought she put it all on the internet. And this cost them their professional futures, including Michael's path to the NBA.
In Michael's cold indictment, your tantrum cost us 3 years. That is the engine driving his entire campaign of vengeance against her.
It is. So under the guise of justice for this perceived betrayal, Michael and the Horsemen just systematically strip Rika of everything that defined her privileged existence. The financial dismantling is rapid, and it is brutal.
She discovers her bank accounts have been zeroed out, all her credit cards are declined.
And this isn't just petty revenge. It's an exercise in total control, designed to strip her of all external means of support, forcing her to rely entirely on them.
And the financial trap runs even deeper than Michael's malice, right?
Much deeper. Rika learns that Trevor's father transferred the power of attorney over her estate directly to Michael Crist until she graduates college.
That legal maneuver just shows the depth of the familial control they were all operating under. It weaponized the feigned money against Rika herself.
And the psychological manipulation was just as devastating. Rika was completely isolated. Michael reveals the truth about her mother. She isn't on some carefree yacht cruise. She's safely in rehab.
An intervention orchestrated by Michael.
To protect her from herself and the crisis Rika was walking into. This is a key point because it reveals Michael's actions are never purely malicious. They are always a complex mix of revenge, control, and a really twisted form of protection.
We also learn the truth about her isolation. That her communication was cut off because Will took her phone during Trevor's party 3 years ago and replaced all her contacts with a fake phone we set up.
Think about the psychological impact of that. For 3 years, Rika thought she was communicating with friends and family, but she was just talking to an echo chamber.
They engineered her solitude. They made her feel completely abandoned by the people she loved, preparing her emotionally for this confrontation.
Yeah, and the layers of deceit just keep unraveling when Michael finally pulls back the curtain, revealing the true orchestrator of the entire mess. Mr. Crist, Michael's father, working in tandem with Trevor.
And the sources confirm that Mr. Crist's motivation was purely financial and generational. His whole plan was to force Rika to marry Trevor after graduation to secure the feigned money and connections, a perfect merger of wealth.
And his reasoning for why Trevor was the chosen groom over Michael is just chillingly transactional.
He believed Trevor would keep Rika happy and pliant.
Right, while Michael was too volatile for such a crucial business merger. Michael was seen as a loose cannon, unable to handle the responsibility of this massive financial acquisition.
Which confirms Michael's earlier confession in the catacombs. He was perpetually afraid and controlled by his father's expectations.
And this revelation, it shifts the identity of the ultimate villain, from Michael, the horseman, to his own father, the patriarch. But the ultimate betrayal comes with Michael's discovery.
That Trevor, the supposedly loyal, predictable brother, was the one who stole Rika's phone and leaked the videos that sent the horseman to prison.
Exactly. Trevor framed Rika, calculating that it would remove his rival, Michael, and position himself to inherit Rika's wealth through the arranged marriage.
So Trevor's quiet jealousy and his possessiveness were the real threats all along. He was willing to destroy his own brother and frame his childhood friend for a massive crime.
Purely for financial gain and control over Rika. The horseman sought vengeance on Rika for a crime Trevor committed, and Michael's father orchestrated the entire marriage plot.
It's a masterful piece of narrative synthesis that forces Michael to recognize the true enemy, the family structure that sought to define and control both him and Rika.
And this complex web of deceit leads us directly to the climax. The final confrontation that forces Michael to make a choice that defines his future and Rika's.
Rika is caught right in the crosshairs. She's tied up by Damon and Trevor. The tension is just explosive, fueled by these long simmering resentments.
And Damon, who was maybe the most psychologically damaged by the 3 years in prison, he sides with Trevor. He bitterly believes Rika fucked everything up and that she came between brothers.
It's the final fracture within the horseman's loyalty.
And in a moment of just pure cruelty, Trevor weaponizes Michael's deepest, most closely guarded secret, the source of his immense trauma.
He reveals that Michael's mother was 12 when she started fucking him.
Which is just a devastating piece of context. It explains Michael's self-loathing, his fear of vulnerability, and his conviction that he is inherently too volatile.
Trevor uses this information to completely destroy Michael's carefully constructed facade of strength, emphasizing his willingness to eliminate his brother entirely.
And Trevor, having secured Rika and cornered Michael, implies that Michael must die for the marriage plot to succeed and for him to get the Fane estate. He even suggests he planned to kill Rika as well, to tie up the loose ends.
So this is the ultimate crucible for Michael. He has to choose. He can choose the comfort, stability, and expectations of his powerful family.
Or his fierce, destructive, protective desire for Rika, who is now the embodiment of the chaos he wants to embrace.
And he chooses Rika. And in doing so, he chooses freedom.
He does. The source material culminates with Trevor's death. He drowns, and Michael immediately rejects his father's last-ditch attempts to manipulate the outcome and salvage the Fane money.
This is where that Frankenstein quote achieves its final meaning. Michael the creature finally turns on his creator.
He declares unequivocally, "I broke the trust. Everything is in her name now." By doing this, he strips himself of any control over the Fane assets and ensures Rika has complete financial independence.
That single declaration is the true mark of Michael taking control over his destiny. He's no longer allowing his father's business ambitions to dictate his actions or his worth.
He essentially gives Rika the ultimate power, the power of financial self-determination. But the resolution of their dynamic is complex, reflecting the dark romance genre. At a party, Michael publicly secures Rika's physical safety.
By declaring her horseman property, he shouts, "Any guy lays a hand on her has to deal with us."
Right. And on the surface, that sounds intensely possessive. It sounds like the ultimate form of male control. But we have to analyze it within the context of the violent world they operate in.
So what is the psychological function of that statement?
It's the ultimate form of protection within their universe. By declaring her horseman property, Michael is leveraging the fear and the formidable reputation of his entire group to establish a clear, public, and absolute boundary around Rika.
So it ensures that no one else, particularly not the old establishment figures like his father, can touch her.
Exactly. It is possessive, yes, but its immediate function is to guarantee her safety and independence, solidifying her status as untouchable.
And Michael's internal transformation is finally complete. And it's triggered by Rika's earlier simple challenge to him.
She didn't argue with him. She just asked him why he was waiting. Life is one way, and there's no return trip. What are you waiting for?
That sentence just cuts through all the years of trauma and obedience.
It does. Michael realizes that the restraints he lives under, the constant fear, the rules, his father's expectations, the obligation to his name, they're just illusions. They only hold power if he allows them to.
And Rika's courage, her willingness to choose chaos over comfort, it forces him to confront his own self-imposed limitations.
And that realization frees him, not just to love Rika, but to stop allowing others to dictate his actions. He finally embraces the master identity that was hinted at in the epigraph.
Wow. That was an intense, comprehensive deep dive into corrupt. We have analyzed the explosive, highly volatile dynamic between Rika and Michael and recognized it was fueled less by raw malice and more by deep-seated trauma and these devastating misunderstandings.
I think the overwhelming insight is that Michael's initial attempts at vengeance were just a symptom of much larger, more insidious forces of control being exerted by societal and familial expectations. And those are all embodied by the patriarch, Mr. Crist.
And Rika's unpredictable arrival forced Michael to stop playing the role that was assigned to him, the volatile second son, and stand up for himself. And critically, for Rika's future.
Yeah, Rika achieved the freedom she craved, but not through quiet independence. She found it through a path of destruction and forced self-reliance. She needed the chaos of the horsemen to shed that suffocating umbrella of her name.
Her ultimate act, smashing the FANE jewelry store window, proved she was willing to burn down her old life to save the man who became her eventual master, but also, the man who ultimately empowered her.
And by the conclusion of the source material, Rika isn't just independent. She is the head of her own family's vast financial future. She controls the Fane assets that Michael unilaterally surrendered to her.
Michael's journey led him to the realization that control is an illusion that only exists if you consent to it. He broke that illusion for himself and for Rika. That brings us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener, as you consider the intense world Penelope Douglas has created. Rika has successfully broken out of the box of privileged expectation. She's acquired the financial autonomy she was denied, and she embraced the chaos she so desperately sought.
So now that she has both the destruction and the freedom, what is the next box she must inevitably break out of? And who will Erica Fane truly become when she finally stands on her own 2 feet, free of both her father's legacy and Michael's possessive protection?